So now we will talk about a brief introduction about the production planning, SAP PP. What is PP? What are the contents in PP? That we will discuss. So it is a plan to produce. So PP is part of the plan to produce. The input coming from for the planning process is coming from the forecast and the sales plan. The forecast and sales plan are coming as the input, and these things are converted into production plan considering the constraints coming from warehouse and capacity. That should be there, right? Because you can have a plan. That's what just now I explained, no? The MRP and the manufacturing resource planning. These things are there, right? So we need to check what is the capacity, what are the other resources. The resources may be equipment or labor and other things. So those things have to be considered before we work out the input as the production plan. Also, what is the warehouse capacity? Those things also have to be considered. Earlier, Sigmund was telling that no, they are having a planning process with another third-party software, where the third-party software may be considering the storage capacity, the transportation capacity, those kind of things, and then they are doing the planning, right? So those considerations and restrictions have to be taken when you do the planning here. This production plan will be taken as the input to the system for the material requirement planning. And this material requirement planning will be useful to get the products which are, you have to buy the metal from outside. And using the metal we bought from outside, and the MRP would have given already what are the things to produce. So produce the metal based on the metal we purchase from outside. And then we sell it to the customer. This is the overall production planning business process. So production planning involves the input coming from the demand planning. The demand planning is giving the input as independent requirement, right? It is giving them as an independent requirement. So can anyone explain what is the difference between independent requirement and a dependent requirement? Independent requirement and a dependent requirement. Can anyone explain?
In APO, sir, when we enter directly the forecast without reference to any sales or something, it's called independent planning. If we generate some demand based on some past history or requirement from the distribution center, this is dependent planning.
Oh, I see. Something, a new concept I am getting now. But this is in APO, these are the terms used, right?
Not in APO. That's what I used to do without any reference. When we do the forecast, it's an independent requirement.
Okay. No, you told independent requirement, but another one you told, no, based on the forecast or something we are entering, that is a dependent requirement.
Yeah, from the normally we'll receive our demand from the distribution center to the production planning, then it is called dependent requirement.
No, I am talking about not current requirement. I'm asking about what is the difference between independent requirement and dependent demand.
Satya sir,
Yeah.
Dependent requirement is the bill of the materials, and independent is something coming from the sales forecast.
Okay, no, you are putting as a question again back to me. I want the answer.
No. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. That's why I said that.
Okay.
But dependent requirement is something I'm pretty sure is that it's a bill of the materials. And independent is something that is coming from the sales forecast.
Okay, let me see what others can explain. Sigmund or Rashid, can you explain what is the difference between independent demand and dependent demand?
Just now what he said is correct, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I see the same thing. So dependent demand comes from the bill of materials, and independent demand is something that could come for maybe spare parts. Like in a car, it's a manufacturing company for a car, then the dependent demand will be basically all the parts that go for the car, like tires, steering, battery, etc. And independent demand could be maybe a customer wants to replace the tires and they will just ask for the tires. So
Okay, from this example, can you elaborate this dependent demand and independent demand? What you told?
For the finished product, what we put is an independent demand, and the
Okay.
component on the finished product is a dependent demand.
Okay. So that dependent demand you are going to enter into the system?
No, sir, it's generated by MRP.
Ah, okay, right. So
So
independent
it means
demand.
is that the spare parts are the independent demand, and to manufacture the particular car, the components required would be the dependent demand, right?
But the demand of car itself is independent demand, no?
Sorry?
The demand for car itself is independent demand.
Exactly, but the spare parts are
Fine. Okay. This is the point I want to drive here. Okay. See, the point is there should be a clear understanding of what is dependent demand, independent demand. This is also making a lot of confusion in many organizations. The example what now we are discussing, the car demand, if you take, how many cars I'm going to produce? That is a demand which is coming from the market. The demand, it may be the forecast what you worked out, or it may be order coming from the customer as a sales order, whatever it is. That is independent demand. That is the product which is coming as a market requirement. Now, to produce a car, I need some components required. Those components are arrived based on the bill of material, and these things are calculated. So what I calculate and arrive the requirement, these are all called dependent demand. So in the given example, car is my independent demand, and the wheels, the chairs, sorry, the steering or the seats, the metal body, these are all dependent demand. This is one part. At the same time, the spare parts, the service part of this organization, they may need some service parts like wheels or steerings. They have to maintain it. They are not required to produce a car, but they are required as a market requirement for servicing or repair, which is independent of the product which you require. So that is also independent requirement. So when you are entering the demand into the system, we should enter the demand of the car and also the demand for the steering or wheel or whatever it is coming from the market also as the demand. And then what MRP will do? MRP will combine these two. For example, if I enter 100 cars as my demand, so I need 100 into 500 wheels as a requirement, plus I might have entered 150 wheels as my independent demand. So 500 plus 150, 650 wheels are required. That is what MRP will do. So this is one of the mistakes many organizations doing. They enter the demand for only the finished products. They do not enter the demand for the spare parts like this. Because of this, they underestimate the requirement of these spare parts or components, and they're fighting or struggling to meet the requirement coming from the customer. What will happen? The service department, they will go and take it. What was planned and purchased for production? Then they will be fighting each other. The people, the management also, they will go and say, this is service requirement, a customer is angry, they are not giving it, that kind of. So they will ask to give priority. Then production people will suffer. So these kind of issues are coming. So this understanding is very important with respect to demand, which is independent demand, which is dependent demand. So please ensure that in your organization or with your customers, this clarity is there. So that has to go as an input, as a plan into the system. So MRP will take care of combining these things. it will give you what is the material to be procured based on the bill of materials. Or if there are some sub-assemblies to be produced or the product itself is to be produced, it will give the planned orders to produce the materials. Then we'll get the products into the stock, and then we are selling to the customer. Sometimes the procured material itself will be sold to the stock. Maybe there will be another arrow line, maybe you have to put it here to send it to the customers.
Satya, just a question. So the explanation you provided is good. However, there are service industries where the components are needed. And in the case of food production, these components are not needed as a service industry, right? So, for example, we manufacture French fries, and the demand, derives only from the forecast of the previous years and the planning, sales plan, etc. But the service aspects is not at all coming. So in our case, do you think the dependent and the independent is applicable?
For you, it is not applicable. If it is that, no, because you don't have any spares to supply. No, you have everything is finished product for you. So everything will be coming as an independent demand. You will enter them based on the forecast, and then you will do it. So for you, it is not spare. What we are talking about this engineering industries, like for example, in pharmaceutical industries also, right? Only the finished product is independent demand for them. But if they are producing the equipment, right, then when the equipment is running, or when these kind of vehicles are running, to continue this running and also ensure that the unstopped running, right, continuous running, they need some spare parts to be maintained. That is where we have to maintain those things as independent demand, as a spare parts. For food and pharmaceuticals, maybe some other industries also, it may not be applicable.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so what are the key elements in SAP production planning? Master data. See, I will be keep on talking about master data, right? Because this is where people are missing, garbage in, garbage out. The master data for SAP production planning are material master, work center, or resources. The resources is the SAP PP, the process industry. There is another PP itself, there is a PPPI, but we will be focusing on PP. PI is for continuous industries. Then the work centers, routing or master recipe. Routing is the sequence of operations. What are the sequence? Step-by-step operations. And what is the standard time required? That is, those things are defined in routing. And that is called as a master recipe in the production planning PPPI. That is called PPPI, process industry. So there, instead of work center, they call them as resources. The routing, they call it as master recipe. And then bill of materials is where the components which are required to produce a product and what is the quantity to produce. Then production version. Production version is a combination of bill of material and routing. Because with the same bill of material, I can produce a product in two different ways. The same product can be produced with different combination of bill of material and routing. What is the example here? I am packing one product. I'm taking one powder. For example, detergent powder, I take example. I'm packing it. The powder, after packing, it is the detergent powder 1 kg pack. That is the finished product. And that is produced from the detergent powder. Input is the core material also same. But the packaging material what I am using, one is the rolls of packaging materials. I mean, they are in the roll format, which are feed into the machines. And then automatically they are getting packed. We put the powder on the top of the machine. The roll is running. It is getting packed. We get the 1 kg pack as output. But another method is these pouches, the rolls, we convert them into pouches, buy from the customer directly, buy from the supplier directly. And then we are using them to pack the products. There also I'm getting 1 kg pack only. In the first case, the 1 kg pack was produced using the packing material, is a roll format packaging material with the machine, packaging machine. But in the second case, I am packaging the same material with the pouch, independent pouches, which may be packed manually by people, or they may be packed by hand also, sorry, by machine also. So these are two different ways to get the same product. That is what the production version will be there. We'll have two drill of materials, we'll have two routings. To produce the same product, I'm using these two things. Production version. Then sales and operations planning, which is the standard sales and operations planning under forecast sales. And this is also not happening in many organizations, sales and operations planning. Can anyone tell that the sales and operations planning have you seen in your organization?
I have heard in IBP we have an sales and operation module, sir. Before do their forecast, they will have their forecast from sales and operation planning in food industry.
Okay, the sales and operations plan, that what do they discuss? Do you know?
By like financials, everything, and the forecast.
Okay, so ultimately, as per the output of sales and operations planning, they bring it and they put it into the system, correct?
Sir.
Okay. Anybody else know about this sales and operations plan?
We are doing the same thing exactly like what Kani described. However, is it fully functional? No, we are just starting, and we are seeing so much of disjointed processes, but we have a plan to fix that as well.
What is the frequency of S&OP meeting which is there?
Weekly.
Weekly. Can you even in your case?
It's weekly, sir. It's depend upon the manufacturing. For dairy, they will have like weekly. For water, they will have like monthly.
Okay. Right. Okay. So are we mentioning about S&OP? I'm just thinking about it. No, S&OP is something in the concept which is there. That again, that is not part of our discussion here. Standard operations planning is to review the demand part, or review the supply part, and then aligning these things with the business strategy. And at least Kani told that the financial people are involved there to discuss about what is the impact of these decisions in the financial statements of the organization, whether it is aligned with the business plan. All these things have to be discussed in the S&OP meetings. So these S&OP meetings are very important. The frequency, earlier it was defined as monthly S&OP meetings, but as you said, in this current situation, monthly may not be sufficient. We have to go for weekly.
So
good that yeah.
Sorry, sir. We do it only monthly, but all the key stakeholders are not involved. So, and as the other gentleman said, that there's a lot of disconnect. So we have once in a month, only the demand planners are involved, supply planners are involved, and the markets, the various markets in the world are involved. So there is no warehouse, there is no finance, and the output of these meetings is we get a file sent from the demand planners, and the demand planner says to us that this is what is the forecast that has been agreed by the markets. Can you? We are going to input this forecast in Vanguard, and if anybody has any questions, that's it. Let us know.
Okay.
So that we don't have any communication with finance, no communication with warehouse, the capacity. Just
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least you started this one. Or no, I think it may be going on, but as you said, it has to be improved. Okay, that is not the case for discussion as of now. But the standard S&OP process is also being done in SAP, and also as part of the integrated business planning, we can do it as the input and the output. And then production planning is talking about material forecasting, demand management, long-term planning, and the master production scheduling. So in our course, we will not be covering these things, the standard S&OP, forecast sales, material forecasting, long-term planning. But so for whatever you explained, all of you, that from S&OP you are getting the forecast and you are entering into the system. That is what we are entering as a demand management. So we'll start from this demand management, And then we'll be continue with this MPS and MRP, those kind of concepts. So how to enter the demand management, those things we'll be discussing from here. Okay. And then MRP is running, which is, as we told, it is giving the output of what is the metal, what are the metals to be purchased, like a purchase requisition, what are the metals to be produced, the planned orders, those things are coming from this MRP. And then demand driven replenishment. This is what I called as no DDMRP. That is also another concept, which is now as part of the SAP there from the version 1809, I think in SAP version it is there in the system. And then production planning and detailed scheduling, which is for the advanced capacity planning and heuristics. Guys who know the APO, probably they know about this PPDS. I'm not sure about it. But what I understand, even from SAP itself, they are telling this is very much complicated, PPDS. And then capacity requirement planning is what capacity evaluation and leveling. And here, this is not part of our course here. This is demand driven replenishment and production planning and detailed scheduling. But as I told you, whenever we find time, I will explain you the concept of demand driven MRP. Maybe we'll spend some 20-25 minutes on this later, not now. Once we discuss MRP and all, then only you're able to appreciate what is this demand driven MRP. Product cost controlling, where the integration of PP and costing, all production related costing, overheads, and Kanban, and then reporting purpose. And here we'll not be talking about costing because costing is a different element itself. Kanban also, which is a metal which is moving from system to in the production entry from one place to when you're doing the production, right? We don't need to issue all the metal from stores to production area continuously. Instead of that, we can keep some metal there in the shop floor directly, so they consume it. No, it is like a replenishment. That is what the Kanban process, we can use it in the system. That is also not covered here, but I am planning to prepare one training material on this Kanban. Later I will publish in YouTube. Maybe you once you complete this course, the Kanban you can go through in the YouTube later. Okay, I'm not covering this now, right? Then the reporting in the production planning. So this is the point which we discussed earlier. This is the overview of the process for the SAP production planning. Again, demand management. This is called as a PIR, planned independent requirement. We will be entering this as planned independent requirement, PIR. This is the first input we will be doing into the system. So this is here now, planned independent requirement, PIR. Based on the PIR, we run MRP. So this will give planned orders and purchase requisitions. That is not shown here. Purchase requisition will be shown here. The planned orders will be converted into production orders. Then production orders, from there we can also check the capacity requirements are coming there or not. And then production will be executed. To execute the production, we have to issue the goods and also we have to receive the product which is produced. How to issue the goods, those things can be determined, whether we have to issue the goods manually to each production order, or we can issue the materials like by backflush. Backflush means when you do the production entry, system will consume it automatically or not. That can be done. Goods issue. Goods receipt again, once we complete the production, are we getting the production output automatically there in the system, the finished product, or we have to get the product outside on our own by manual entry. These things can be done, right? These are the process overview of SAP production planning. Now, what are the different production types which are there? The production types are based on the various characteristics of the production. The frequency of production, the complexity of the production, and the stability of the production. Based on these, production types are defined. The selection of the production type is the first step when you are implementing SAP production planning. Selection of the production type is the first step you have to do it. So whenever you are the production planning as a consultant, you need to understand what type of production is going on there, which type of production type you have to go, because SAP PP is there, SAP PP PA is there. Which one we have to select? So here the production types are like discrete manufacturing or shop floor control, that is called SFC. or production planning and process industries, PPPI, then repetitive manufacturing, REM. These are the three things which are handled in SAP. Now, our course will be focusing on the discrete manufacturing and shop floor control. This is what we will be focusing. These two will not be covering now, but the concepts remain the same, except some differences in the repetitive manufacturing. But once you understand the concepts of the shop floor control, you will be able to understand these two without major issue. So discrete manufacturing, first one, that is also called as the shop floor control. Discrete manufacturing is also called as a shop floor control. And this is generally called as a SAP production planning, SAP PP. Here, the production is based on the production orders. It is implemented where the products are changed frequently and the demand pattern is irregular. And then production is workshop oriented. These are the, generally, this is where it is getting implemented. These are the aspects. For discrete manufacturing, what are the master data we need? We need metal master, bill of materials. In this discrete manufacturing, work center, routing, production version. Right? This is discrete manufacturing. So discrete manufacturing example are like gearbox manufacturing or equipment manufacturing, steel rolling mills. These are some examples of discrete manufacturing. The characteristics are production is done in various stages. Customer orders will be received at different levels of the processed goods. It may be semi-finished goods or finished goods or assembled goods, any type of product they may ask. Also, it may need of producing the products in refined stages and kept in stock. That's one of different stages you have to keep it in stock. This is a characteristic of this discrete manufacturing. So here, discrete manufacturing process flow is, we have the order creation, then scheduling is happening. When the scheduling is happening, availability check is done for the material. And then capacity requirement planning is done. Once it is done, order is getting released. Shop floor documents will be printed. Material will be withdrawn from the stores to carry out the production, or it is called as a goods issue in SAP. Then we do the confirmation, which is that we are entering the production details. And then we're getting the finished goods, that is the goods receipt. And then order settlement is done and technical completion is done. This order settlement, here this will be taken care by the controlling people. So we'll be doing up to these finished goods, what's up. Process manufacturing is the batch-oriented or recipe-oriented production products. The process manufacturing may be a continuous production, or it may be discontinued production also, or it may be regulated production. The master data required for this process manufacturing and metal master, bill of metal. Here it is a resource instead of work center. It is master recipe instead of routing. Production version is common for both. So in the continuous production means product is continuously produced, like gas production or oil production, oil processing, refinery production, those kind of things. Raw material is continuously supplied in the production line, and the plant and machinery are in continuous operation. That is a continuous production. So example like fertilizers or cement manufacturing or pharmaceutical like capsules, these are continuously they are going on. They will not stop just like that in between. And then discontinuous production here itself means the components are weighed and provided for each step of the production, batch production. Normally applied in kind of like detergent manufacturing or food industries. They produce, each batch they produce it. Regulated production means quality is very important in this case. And this is applicable in the pharmaceutical and cosmetic products, where the quality will be given most importance in this kind of production. So process manufacturing, again, these are the cycles like order request is there, process order creation, availability check, resource scheduling, resource selection. Here mostly they will be following the batch determination because the traceability is very important here. Then metal calculation, metal release, order printed, shop floor, Then the PA sheet. PA sheet means process instruction sheet. The instruction has to be given because there how to do the production, what are the things they have to do, instruction will be given. And then process message, metal staging, order confirmation is what? Final production confirmation, what we discussed earlier. Also here the quality inspection will be done as part of the in-process inspection or after the production also. Both the thing may happen. Goods visit will happen, then variance calculated, order settlement, batch record, and they will be archived or they will be deleted. So these are various steps involved in process manufacturing. Next is the repetitive manufacturing is applied where high repetitive production is happening, like production volume is stable and predictable, continuously same production, repeatedly same product. At the same time, lead time is short, which means that metal should be available always. And here the lean manufacturing is required. Shop floor product is, it may be a shop floor, the shop floor is product oriented or cell oriented. The major goal of REM is, that is repetitive manufacturing, is reduction in individual lot and order specific processing and reduction in the production control effort and the simplifier back plus tools, which means automatically it has to get consumed. That's what now it is a predictable and stable. So here master data, similar to the discrete manufacturing, what we discussed, only the routing is here, it is called as a rate routing, which means that for any volume, no, same routing will be applicable. The term is called as rate routing here. REM, which is used in kind of electronic goods, automobiles, where we continuously keep on producing the cars or something. Durable goods like washing machine, refrigerators, continuously they are under progress. Mother assembly board, or the nut bolt, fasteners, this kind of production. These things are example of the REM. So here metal will be forecasted. They will be entered here also as a PIR. MRP will run. In this case, sales orders will be coming, that is also coming as a planned order. Considering these two repetitive manufacturings, MRP, output is coming there. Here there is no production order. Planned order itself will be used as a for production purpose to do the goods issue and the goods receipt. And also here cost collector settlement is one concept. These are the two major issues here, major differences. Usage of planned orders and the cost collector settlement. So here, if we talk about the summary of these things, shop production, which is the shop floor production, make to order with the specific features, like one by one they will be produced, or batch production, batch by batch, or continuously mass production. Now you can see the characteristics here. For example, discrete manufacturing, SAP PP, what we are talking. Repetitive manufacturing is REM, process manufacturing PPI. So what is the type of production here? It may be a job production or it may be batch production. Repetitive manufacturing is always mass production. Process manufacturing is continuous production, mass production, or here also it may be batch production. The industries which are using discrete manufacturing are generally automobiles, pumps, engines, computers, etc. Repetitive manufacturing is used by consumers, electronic items. Process manufacturing is applied in chemicals, steel mills, cement, process goods, pharmaceuticals. Production flow is based on order and they are complicated. Repetitive manufacturing is a lean manufacturing without any specific orders. So there is no production order, only the planned orders. The process manufacturing is based on order. It is used in the continuous flow. The order which is used in discrete manufacturing, they are called as a production orders in discrete manufacturing. Repetitive manufacturing will be using a period-based planned orders, and process manufacturing process orders. Master data, these are set of master data we discussed already. So this is the comparison of discrete manufacturing, repetitive manufacturing, process manufacturing. So we are discussing the discrete manufacturing. Right, we'll be talking about discrete manufacturing. So here we're talking about the production planning and business process overview, and production types. So if you have any queries or discussions now, please let me know before we close this part 4 and we have to go to part 5. Also, one topic is completed now. Any queries?
Satya, you mentioned the course focuses on the discrete manufacturing only.
Yes. Yes.
The configuration completely different from these type of manufacturing?
it is not completely different. The concepts remain the same, but the transaction, other things, what you have to enter will be different.
Okay.
Once you understand this configuration, other things in this discrete manufacturing, you will be able to handle the process engineering or the repetitive manufacturing.
Is the processes are simpler in the process manufacturing compared to discrete manufacturing?
In SAP, if you take process manufacturing, process industry is little complicated, but physically it may be little simplified, but system it is little complicated. REM is simplified, repetitive manufacturing.
Okay.
Okay, right. So again, let me stop the recording. We'll be meeting with the part 5, maybe 2 minutes of the recording.